This is Vigalantee for ReasonForRhymes.com. That's reason with the number 4 rhymes.com, YourBlackWorld.net, and also tell it like a TI is. On the line from Manning, South Carolina, we have P-Dash. What up, bro?
Viz, how you living, family?
Man, I'm hanging in there, man. Just trying to make it out here. Man, I was checking out your song, man, about George Stinney. Stinney, right?
That's right, Stinney.
Yeah. The youngest kid to ever get electrocuted, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So what made you want to? Yeah. What made you want to cover that song? That's not your typical rapper want to do is cover that. They more want to be out in the club hanging or tossing money. What makes you want to attack historical value like that?
Well, first off, that story originated. It took place in my hometown where I'm from, and
okay.
And a lot of people don't know about it. And I mean, from not only just my generation, but also other generations, mainly because, where I'm from is such a, small place and, nobody really likes to talk about stuff like that. But I feel like, as an artist, and if in a situation that kind of touches you in a certain kind of way, it's kind of my obligation to speak on it and to be able to, give some type of perspective on it from my standpoint to an extent. Mm-hmm. So that was definitely the motivation behind, putting that out and, just telling that story in hip hop form, if you will.
Yeah. So as I look at some of the songs that you put out, I look at a song called Coming from the Sticks. Let people know what you mean by when you say you coming from the sticks.
Man, coming out the sticks, man. I'm from a rural place, backwoods, and I'm just not talking about where I'm from particularly when I say coming out the sticks, I'm speaking, on behalf of anybody that knows what it's like to be living, outside of the city lights, outside of, opportunity from, nowadays the world, it gets a little bit smaller where you got the internet and things are more accessible, but growing up in the time period where I grew up, you kind of did have a feeling to where you were kind of left out of what the real world represented. And when you're coming from that is kind of what I'm referring to when I'm saying coming out the sticks, that shadow of opportunity, so to speak.
No doubt. So what got you into rapping? What was the thing to make you say, I can do this at a whole nother level?
Man, I think it was something that was in me since I could start really talking and, moving. My mom, she was a school teacher, so she stressed education. And I was always, I always liked to write stories and play with words, and I just always liked music anyway. Like, I listened to a lot of the mainstream, well, not mainstream, but a lot of the pioneering golden age rap music, back in the late 80s and early 90s, and was just, infatuated with the craft, the game, the artist, and I always was in love with it since I could remember.
Okay, being that you're from the South, how did your style come to form, which is kind of different from a sound standpoint of what your other Southern counterparts have? A lot of times you hear trap music and heavy bass music and stuff like that, which I love. I grew up in Georgia, so I'm definitely down with that. What made you go into more telling stories and being more of a, some parts of what I've checked out, a conscious MC?
I think it was just the combination of, my personal upbringing along with the artists that were kind of my influences at the time of me, at such a young age. And I guess you couple that in with, I can't really physically, control how I sound, like vocal wise, to an extent, but those things and the level in which I wanted to paint the pictures with the words that I used. That
Okay.
kind of shaped me into, you know, into the artist that kind of made me different from a lot of people that were, you know, from around here. I think a lot of it also has to do with the fact that, you know, when you're from a place, well, you know, the South has definitely evolved now into, like, you know, the center of the hip hop, the rap game right now, you know.
Yeah.
And but it wasn't always like that. And prior to it becoming that way, you know, a lot of people, like you see today, you know, follow trends, you know. And
Yeah.
and I've never been more so a trend follower, so to speak. I'd rather be just, you know, who I am and just give it to you like that. So I mean, like, I think a lot of artists who, you know, who are Southern, or
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of them, you know, go out of their way sometimes to try to, and even right now, up north artists, you know, people go out of their way sometimes to sound like what's hot when it's not
Yeah.
them. And I mean, I think if you just eliminate that factor out of the whole game, you'll get a lot more people that don't fit where they are because that's who they are.
Exactly. So there's not a lot of authenticity out there, you know. And the industry kind of forces a lot of artists to be that way because it's hard. You know, I'm in the same boat as you when it comes to doing music to, you know, reach the mind. I did a song on Emmett Till, Mega Evers, you know, and those songs are very important. But at the same time, it's a harder road for us to get out there versus somebody that's talking about the trap or got a double cup, you know. So,
Exactly.
but you know, we keep pushing. That's what Your Black World is for. So the song you got out with a real good video called Addicted. And the way you play with the words on that, it's a crazy song, man, but it's dope. What put you in the mind to do an artsy song like that as well as an artsy video?
Addicted, man. I mean, like I said before, like a lot of my inspiration as an artist comes from the circumstances that I've experienced and the environment, you know, the environments that I've been in, you know. And I mean, coming out the sticks, and whether you want to call it the hood or, you know, just in the black community, you know, you experience, or you know, either firsthand or secondhand, lots of situations that, you know, where people get abused in certain ways and get involved in situations where, you know, I mean, they're just abusive and they, you know, they're cancerous, you know. And being that a lot of the stuff that I like to talk about is, first of all, is based upon, you know, those circumstances that I've either witnessed or experienced myself. And a lot of times I like taking on the challenge of covering a lot of the topics that other people either don't want to talk about or find most difficult to talk about. Because at the end of the day, especially as it relates to black issues, quote unquote, it's ironic that most black issues are the most difficult for everyone as a society to talk about. I just feel like when you have a gift to kind of put things in forms where you can play with the words, to paint pictures, to say things without having to say things, and create art that says things for you, that leaves the window open for people to be able to be more comfortable with dealing with whatever the issues are, and that's what a true artist should be doing. So, I mean, I don't mind every other artist, you know, coming up off of, you know, talking about the same things, but I would much rather prefer to talk about stuff that's more either relevant to me personally or just more relevant in general that, you know, most people don't really want to discuss.
Hey, man, that's real talk right there. That's definitely real talk. So what do you think? We can segue what you just said into what do you think about the state of hip-hop now?
I mean, I think that the state of hip hop right now is in a very interesting place. It's in a great place from the standpoint that, you know, that the technology and the exposure, you know, of course the tool of the internet has allowed for more and more people to kind of participate and you know, have their voice, so to speak, involved with the art form. But at the same time, I find that evolution of the game also part of the cancer of hip hop, because now it becomes harder to really distinguish true artistry from, you know, participation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like you have to. I feel like I look at the game of hip hop differently than I was raised in. From the standpoint of, you know, there's always been mainstream and there's always been underground. There's always been levels to everything, you know. Now I just feel like that is something that it takes a certain type of consumer, a certain type of person who loves hip hop music to be able to, you know, find something that's different from what everybody else is going to be doing, because everybody has so much access to, you know, the culture itself. So it's a lot of stuff going on that's monkey see, monkey do, you know.
Yep.
And I mean that's just what that evolution in the game creates. Which, you know, like I said, it could be a gift and a curse, but at the same time, you know, it's a lot more opportunities for everyone to get that exposure, to hopefully allow better artists to get, you know, more exposure and just more perspective to keep carrying the thing along. So it's evolving on pace, I guess.
Yep. So you broke it down right. So what do you want your Black World, Reasons for Rhymes, and the world to know about P-Dash right now?
I would say what I would want for your Black World, my Black World, and the Black World, and the world in general, you know, to know about P-Dash is that, you know, I mean, that there's still artists from hip-hop, rap culture, whatever you want to call it, who are able to articulate, demonstrate through rhyme, verse form about real, you know, stuff, issues that's going on. That is willing to, you know, spark the conversation and action towards, you know, moving the culture along, particularly for the betterment of, you know, Black people's perspectives, and just for the betterment of true, you know, lovers of art, especially when you talk about, you know, rap music and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like I just want people to know that I represent the craft and everything about it representing the culture. You know what I mean? That's what I want them to know.
No doubt. Where can they find you at, P-Dash?
They can find me online at emcee.com. They can also find me online on Twitter at IamP-, and on my Facebook fan page, IamP-. That's IamPDASH.
No doubt.
The website is IamP-.com.
Do you have an album coming out, or do you already have one out?
Yes, the album that's out right now currently is called Dying for a Living. That's the album, Dying for a Living.
Where can they find it at?
They can get it off of the IamP- website.
Okay.
Or they can order it off of CD Baby at cdbaby.com/PDASH2.
Okay, we'll definitely put those links on. We'll put those links inside the story, man. It was good to have you on the show. And by the way, we're premiering your song, man, tonight. So we're definitely going to put that out there, and I'm looking to hear more from you. I'm looking to actually bring you back on the show some more and talk about the state of hip hop and things that's on your mind, man. So we want to continue giving you a platform, man, giving you a platform from South Carolina into the world, man, because hip hop is universal. And I mean, I think you got some songs that definitely should be heard, and the videos that definitely should be looked at, man. I thank you for coming on the show, brother.
Much respect to you, man. Thank you for having me tremendously.
Oh, no problem, man. We're going to get you on Tell It Like a T.I. Is, too. You know, this is your Black World, man. Sports, you know, talk highly of you, man. So we're going to put you out there, man. So we will be getting with you, man. So don't even worry about that. We got you. This has been Vigalantee. No problem. This has been Vigalantee for ReasonForRhymes.com, YourBlackWorld.net. This is like a T.I. Is, and we just told it like a T.I. Is. And that was P-Dash, y'all. Y'all got to check this brother. He's on the rise. And we are out.